In my case, I'm going to talk about the evil eye. So, a historical perspective from the point of view of how women are treated within this tradition, this belief in the British Isles. Okay, so let's start by defining what fascination is. Okay, so fascination, from the Latin word fascinatio, possible from Greek vaskanos. I don't know if the people from the classic departments are still here, so they can confirm. With the meaning of evil spell, has been used as a synonym for evil eye since antiquity. Okay, even though now it's obsolete, the term fascination in English means to be affected by witchcraft or magic, to bewitch, enchant, lay under the spell, which makes it easily related to the evil eye concept. The first written record of this word in the Oxford English Dictionary belongs to Ben Jonson's Every Man and His Humour that you can see on the slide. I was fascinated by Jupiter, fascinated, but I will be unwitched and revenged by law. In this example, we find the word unwitch as an antonym of fascinate, so showing the identification between witchcraft and the evil eye tradition that will be further analyzed later. The definition of the evil eye, okay, now that we have connected both terms, given by the New Encyclopedia Britannica, talks about a destructive force capable of bringing death, a glance believed to have the ability to cause injury or death to those on whom it falls. Okay, so should we be afraid of the evil eye? Yes, especially if you are a child or animal. So children and animals are thought to be particularly susceptible. Belief in the evil eye is ancient and ubiquitous. So in this case, we're talking about the British Isles, but actually the evil eye exists worldwide. It is sometimes held involuntary. So maybe you are casting the evil eye on somebody here and you don't know it. Most frequently, however, malice towards an envy of prosperity and beauty thought to be the cause. So that's in medieval Europe and popular superstition even today. It was considered unlucky to be praised or to have one's possessions praised. So some qualifying phrases such as goodwill or God blessed were commonly used, still used. Nowadays we have an updating of this that I will introduce at the end, so just remember this now. Right, so in this case, what I'm going to talk about is the role of female figures, so basically women, saints, and witches, okay? So in this slide, what you have is a picture of a drawing of three supposed witches without familiars. The familiars are the animals accompanying them. I don't know what happened in medieval, early modern times with cats. It seems that nobody had a cat before. Right. Sorry. So, although anybody could be accused of having the power of the evil eye, there are some people who are more prone to be attributed to its possession. So, like having special particularities in eyes, like very dark color, different color, brows meeting in the forehead or the lack of one eye. Physical characteristics such as deformities or just lack of attractiveness, according to the beauty canon of that time, can also identify who can cast evil eye. Sometimes being old was enough to have the power of fascination, especially if we talk about women. Why? Because that meant that they couldn't have children anymore, and they have lost their beauty, okay? For example, in Kerry, in Ireland, there was an old woman who the young girls fear for her evil eye, and as the evil eye is believed to be more powerful in the morning, they used to go out after sunset for water to avoid meeting her. The glance of a barren woman to a new womb is especially feared because of the strong feeling of envy she's almost certainly having, all new, okay? But also normal people, any of us, with normal appearance were believed to have this power, which sometimes, as I said before, is involuntary. Anybody, therefore, for any status could be blamed. So here I have included a Scottish charm to protect yourself from evil eye that goes as follows: against small eye, against large eye, against the eye of swift, voracious women, against the eye of swift, rapacious women, against the eye of swift, dragging women, against my own eye, against thy own eye, against the eye of the grey man who came yesterday to the door. As you can see, the last words, my own eye, thy own eye, can be any sex. A great man is male, but the other are related to women. So to talk about women and female representations, I also want to mention this figure that I guess some of you are familiar with, as the Sheela na gig. The Sheela na gig is for many just a grotesque figure, impudic figure, showing no modesty at all. And what seems surprising for many others is the fact that we find these kind of subsculptures in churches, okay? Romanesque churches. The passing of time and the covering of Christianity have mutilated them. This is still intact. And many appear as just mere feminine shapes or clearly destroyed images. So you can recognize that something has been destroyed and you can somehow think what was there before, okay? But the thing is that the Sheela na gig had a mission to fulfill, okay? The Sheela na gig is a rather obscure sculpture representation, but it was believed to be also a protective device against the evil eye. So this displaying of genitals, in this case feminine, okay, we have already said that everything female was related to casting the evil eye, but everything female is also related to avoid it. So it has been considered female genitals since ancient times to be an effective way of dispersing bad luck. This is one of the most famous Sheela na gigs in Kilpatrick, in Hertfordshire, in England. Okay, you can find Sheela na gigs also here in the Iberian Peninsula. I have done a study about them in Galician territory. So if you are interested, just write to me. I can show you where they are. Right. So continue with female parts. Dr. Freitag tells us that in ancient days, men afflicted by hard luck, evil eye, would turn to certain women who displayed their pudenda and then counteract the evil influences. Don't ask me why. A man named Walter Mahon Smith wrote in the Irish Times that in 1913, near the place he lived in Ireland, there was a deadly feud that had continued for generations between the families of two small farmers. One day, before the First World War, when the men of one of the families, armed with pitchforks and heavy blackthorn sticks, attacked the home of the enemy, the woman of the house came to the door of her cottage and, in full sight of all, lifted her skirt and underclothes high above her head, displaying her naked genitals. The enemy of her and her family fled in terror. The German traveler Johann Kohl pointed out that in 1840s, that in Ireland, it was a common practice for those men who believed to be the target of evil eye to turn to certain women who will display their genitals to avert it and bring them good luck. Nudity, going a little bit, traveling a little bit more on time, is also employed to calm the Ulster mythological warrior Cuchulainn, who after killing 3 enemies at the age of 7 comes back to the castle so excited that the inhabitants were afraid of he continuing killing more people. So the king orders 150 women in there to nude themselves and go outside. So he, before this sight, calms down, okay, full of shame, okay? So nakedness is a good way of averting the evil eye because it attracts the malefic glance of an ill-disposed person. That is, so the evil eye somehow works in like, I have something to fix my side on, so this is a good point. So my intention of casting that evil fate on you is dispersed, okay? It's like a shield. So thus, carving shield and aegis in a church or any kind of building is a way of protecting it. For the eye will be fixed on the obscenity, stop the danger. In addition, the vulva is a symbol of the generative power of women. Okay, evil eye means destruction. The female genitals mean creation. Okay, so it's a way of fighting it. In the Isle of Man, women used to expose their vulvas to the bonfires during the festivals to get the beneficial influence of the fire and at the same time bless it with their own power. And also related to female genitalia, we have the figure. I don't know if the figure is something common here in Euskadi. Is it? No? Everybody knows it? No? Nobody? Okay. I have one here. Just if somebody wants to take a look at it. Okay. It's rather popular in Galicia. Yes, you can pass it. Rather popular in Galician culture. Okay. It's, sorry. It's not an element that belongs to the British Isles, okay? So it was used, it was exported there, okay? At the beginning of the 19th century, it was common in Yorkshire, in England, to put the thumb between the first and the second finger pointing downwards. So this was believed to be an infallible protection against the evil influence of one particular malevolent and powerful witch. Okay, so you just can do it. Okay, yeah. So traditionally, figures are made of jet or red coral. Okay. Pliny stated that jet was used to cure toothache and even eye strain, okay? So the shape of the figure symbolizes, thank you, the feminine genitals. Just think about it, okay? Which links us to the use of nudity to avert the evil eye, okay? The word itself is also related to, it comes from Latin ficus, meaning fig. And the fig and the fig tree are also sexual symbols, okay? And the leaves of this tree denote a symbolic covering for the genitals, and also a representation of the masculine triad due to the shape, 3 shape. Okay, so as you can see, the figure can be also related to male genitals, okay? In present day English, it used to exist at least, the idiom a fig for nobody or a fig for anything, which means the same as the phallic hand. Everybody knows what the phallic hand is, and I'm going to make it because I'm being recorded. Right. Another symbol is the horseshoe. How can we relate the horseshoe with all this? Okay, the horseshoe, even though it's not as evident as other representations, is also a representation of the female genitals, and is used as a protection of the evil, against the evil eye. So these representations were popular in Western Europe during the Middle Ages, but were not originally horseshoes, okay? The reason for deployment of horseshoes as representatives of genitals is that similitude with the feminine organ imagination, yeah? Basically because of the shape. In fact, this shape, no, the horseshoe, the shape, was used as an emblem of fecundity in Anglo-Saxon times, and it is taken as a conventional figure of the Johnny in Hindu temples. This takes us to the conclusion that it's not the horseshoe that protests from the evil eye, but its shape. Thus, the arc shape became a representation of what we are describing. An example also can be the use of the rowan tree or mountain ash in the form of an arc to protect cattle, which were found in West Scotland. And so, although the material also plays an important role, in the same way shillers were at the entrance of the buildings to protect the evil eye beholder from getting closer, the horseshoe is placed next to the door or over the door, okay, so you cannot enter. However, the Scottish law has found another explanation for the use of horseshoes. It was said that the devil visited a blacksmith, so not related at all with what I'm saying, and asked to be shot. The man agreed, but the devil could not stand the pain and begged the smith to stop. He will only stop if the devil promised not to enter any building with a horseshoe over the threshold. There was a 17th century saying in London that ran as this, may the horseshoe never be pulled from your threshold, in order to wish you good luck. The threshold was usually the place chosen for hanging horseshoes or any other protective devices against evil entering the house. And it symbolizes the way into a place where evil must not enter. That's why it was considered unlucky to step the threshold without a horseshoe. Okay. Nowadays, maybe you haven't had the opportunity of seeing horseshoes in many buildings. Okay, but was particularly they were particularly present in where cattle was. Okay, cattle was the way of living. Okay, so if something wrong happened to the cattle, you will starve, basically. But the horseshoe can also be found in other places, such, for example, in the bottom of the recipient where the churning is made in the Highlands, or hung up in the ceiling above the cattle in Somerset to keep off the pixies. Okay, a type of fairies which were believed to ride the horses during the night. In Cerne, in Dorset, a woman was said to hang a horseshoe to discover which witch was tormenting her. And the witch appeared, and she had to ask her to remove the horseshoe. But the meaning of the horseshoe goes even further. It is also a moon symbol. Moreover, it's made of iron, which is believed to frighten away fairies and witches. Okay, before dealing with witches, I want to mention the deities. Okay, so I'm talking about Virgin Mary and Saint Bridget. The appearance of Virgin Mary and Saint Bridget in charms and invocations to prevent or ward against the power of the evil eye is also very frequent, as they occupy the place of previous pagan representations. Okay. This is more evident in the case of Saint Bridget, because the Virgin Mary cult has achieved enough popularity to gain a place on her own within popular tradition. Nevertheless, paganism is still present both. So Saint Bridget was originally a Celtic goddess whose feast was held in Bourg, the 1st of February. Bridget was considered as the goddess of fire, fertility, and I say Bridget and no Saint Bridget, okay? What doesn't exist, let's say, is the same part, was made up. The goddess of fire, fertility, and among others, healing. So the celebration of Saint Bridget still exists, okay? now under Christian names, because we have in vogue, we have St. Bridget's Day on the 1st of February. Yes. And on the 2nd of February, we have Candlemas, okay, which is actually 40 days after the supposed birth of Christ. So when a woman is supposed to stop being impure. Okay, just going to, okay, so just talking about the saints here. In the Hebrides, it was usual to recite the Journal of St. Bridget to clear the air of evil spirits. Okay, that goes as follows. Each day and each night that I recall the Journal of Bridget, I shall not be killed, I shall not be wounded, I shall not be struck with the evil eye. Just going to skip this part because I'm quite interested in dealing with witches. Okay, there are two types of witches, actually three, but mainly two types. We have the black witch that makes evil things, the white witch that provides cures, and then we have the gray witches that can be both. It's interesting how important the role of witches in the evil eye tradition has occupied. Okay, so as I said before, the term bewitched is related to the evil eye. Okay, Joseph Campbell said that how overlooking and bewitching are distinguished by this hellish fraternity, I know not. Okay, in Norfolk, they say that those women with dominant personality and Roman nose, that is a prominent bridge or slight aquiline cast, were possibly witches. In Scotland, all witches have in their bodies what is known as a devil mark, which is basically something different in your skin, so that was enough to say you were a witch. And in connection, the connection among devil and witches, between devil and witches and the evil eye, has created a vague frontier which cannot be discerned in a clear enough way. So the evil eye is said to derive from envy or from the action of the devil, and witches are also get that power from him. So therefore, taking into account the closeness between witchcraft and the evil eye, many chants and content chants are used indistinctively against the evil eye and witches. You have here what George Mackenzie said about the witches and the evil eye, that they could kill without looks, okay? Also, we can find examples of witches as possessors of the evil eye in research traditions and even newspaper. This is the case with the Oxford Times, okay, saying that women as well as men became bitten by the craving of witch finding, and the little out of the world villages among the romantic Vale of the Red Horse were in a state of great unrest. Each native or resident suspecting of the other for possessing the dangerous gift of the evil eye. Okay. I'm just going to explain this in more detail, but I'm just going to skip it because I want to know if we are having any witch here. So if any of these characteristics applies to you, so if you know too much to be a woman, if you are a woman, basically, you are a woman, so basically you are weak, and the devil knows it. If you are married, and you are over 25, if you are poor, or if you are an independent woman. So how many witches here today? Quite a lot. Okay, congratulations. Right, so if a woman of these characteristics was found, okay, she had to be confronted, okay? So this is a way of confronting witches, so saying a good word, God bless it, everything, okay? Keeping the shoes, the horseshoe, carrying a figure, carrying a stone with a hole in it, okay? So mostly these same objects, these same amulets were used indistinctively to confront witches and to confront the evil eye. As I said before, we have black witches, all witches are bad, all cast the evil eye, but we also have the white witches, okay? The white witches were the ones who are able to save you from the evil eye, okay? What happens here is that if you are wrong, you will be condemned because you are a white witch. No, you are a black witch disguised as a white witch. And basically, when something goes wrong, as you are a woman, you are a witch, okay, somebody has to be blamed. I had two examples here. There was Biddy Ellie from Ireland that obtained her curative powers from a blue bottle. Nobody knows the origin of this blue bottle. And then there was a reputed herbalist from the Isle of Man, Nan Wade. She even has this doll in the Manx Museum. Okay, they respect her even nowadays. Okay, so just going to stop here because we are in a hurry. Okay, so just to conclude, okay, I can show you the whole thing before, after this. We can highlight the complex role of in the history of witchcraft and the complex role of women in the history of witchcraft and the evil eye. Women with knowledge of healing, herbalism, midwifery, or often held respected, but yet precarious positions in society. So what witches like Biddy Ellie and Nan Wade were valued for their cures, but still feared because the church was against them. So they saw their powers as threats. So if a woman's treatment failed or she showed assertiveness, independence, she could be quickly accused of witchcraft. So these accusations often target older, unmarried, or economically vulnerable women, reflecting societally fears about female autonomy and sexuality. So witchcraft accusations became a means to regulate female behavior. Okay, don't be independent, don't have your own opinion, or you will be condemned and killed as a witch. So this duality, women both revered and punished for their knowledge, underscores how the image of the witch symbolized society's ambivalence towards female power. In a sense, these historical views reveal how female agency has control, was controlled, and how women who challenged social norms were vulnerable to condemnation. And as I said before, just finish with this, if you remember what I said, God bless it, and so on. Okay, so this year there was a way of preventing you from ill fate, especially in the United States. And of course, I don't want you to, as I know that this room is full of witches now, I don't want you to cast the evil on me, so thank you, Beyoncé. So if you have any doubt, any query, just write to me. Okay, I will be glad to answer back any of your questions.
Right, thank you, Dr. Torrado, and the other two speakers. We might have time for just one quick question, if anyone wants to ask anything. One or two. Yeah, there's one over there.
So hello. I wanted to ask Claudia. Hello? Claudia, is Claudia there?
She's supposed to be there.
Yeah, she is, but she cannot hear us. Oh. Okay, so you ask a question, okay? Oh. Hi, Claudia, can you hear us?
Yes,
Hi,
now
hi.
I can.
I want to ask you, today is a very special day. It's election day in the States. I mean, I really liked your presentation. I think it's really interesting to see the Arthurian myth. But then we have JFK, with all the Camelot thing in the States, have you ever thought about it and how the Arthurian myth has actually was brought back to the States with the first Catholic president, etc.? Big question, sorry.
I just had another, like,
Bye-bye.
audio overlap.
Okay.
Like, I was hearing a different conversation.
Okay. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I was just thinking about today being election day and the fact that John Fitzgerald Kennedy was the first Catholic president of the States, and the fact that there was this Camelot myth with that. Do you think have you ever thought about how it can relate to all that you have presented? Because I think it might have some sense.
Yeah, definitely. Well, when my study did not go beyond the British Isles, I know that, well, of course, over time, King Arthur, he's, famous worldwide now. So, yeah, I think that it definitely has a connection. Of course, it is very easy to appropriate Arthur, if that makes sense. Okay, it's just very easy to kind of claim him, and not only him as a figure, but his ideals. Okay, nowadays he is the foundational myth, not foundational, but national myth of Britain. So I think that's very easy to do. Unfortunately, I have never looked into that. I have never crossed the ocean, but it's something that looks very interesting. I will definitely look into that because I have not thought about it much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, then we'll call it a day. There'll be a lunch break now until 3, and then we'll start again at Aula Magna, right? I think. Both of them? Just in there, right? Yeah, so over there at 3 o'clock. Thank you for coming.